The first attack came like a shadow across the stars, sudden, merciless, and complete. Human colonies on the outer planets had little warning. Cities that had taken decades to build were obliterated in moments. Fires burned bright against the dark void, and the screams of the innocent echoed through space long after the explosions faded. Commander Lyra Voss watched the newsfeed of destruction with her heart in her throat. Each flickering red dot on the holographic map represented a world lost, a family gone, a future stolen. The enemy called themselves the Zytrax, a ruthless alien empire that saw humans as insignificant, weak creatures. To them, humanity was nothing but pests, to be crushed underfoot. Lyra clenched her fists as images of burning colonies filled the bridge of the Aegis, her flagship. Children's laughter turned to ash, homes reduced to nothing but smoke and rubble. Yet beneath her grief and rage there was a spark of something stronger: determination. Humans had survived catastrophes on Earth for centuries: famine, plagues, wars, environmental collapse. They had endured impossible odds before, and they would endure again. Lyra felt that old human fire ignite inside her. She would not allow the Zytrax to erase humanity so easily. "Sir," whispered Lieutenant Jaren, a young officer with fear still fresh in her eyes. "They're moving faster than our scouts predicted. They'll reach the inner colonies within weeks." Lyra turned to face her, her eyes hard and unwavering. "Then we make them regret every step they take. Humanity does not kneel. We fight, we survive. That is who we are." Her voice was calm, but it carried a weight that made even the most frightened officer stand taller. Somewhere, deep beneath the forests and mountains of Gaia Prime, something ancient stirred. For centuries, humans had called it Earth. They had built cities, mined resources, and fought wars upon it. And all the while the planet had waited, patient and silent. Now the Zytrax's relentless attacks awakened it. Gaia's life force pulsed beneath the surface, a hidden, slow-building storm. Her energy spread through the forests, the oceans, even the air, as if she were reaching for the children she had nurtured for millennia. It was subtle, almost invisible, but it was real. The hidden fury of Gaia had begun to rise. Lyra thought of the colonies lost, children who would never see the sun rise, families torn apart, dreams crushed in an instant. She felt a deep ache in her chest, but she refused to surrender to despair. "We cannot save everyone," she whispered to herself, "but we can save what remains. And we will make them pay." The crew of the Aegis moved quickly, preparing for the war that was coming. Ships were armed, plans made, and strategies discussed. They were outnumbered and outgunned, but humanity had something the Zytrax did not understand: resilience, hope, and the ability to fight not just with technology, but with spirit. Lyra knew that the coming battle would test every human value: courage, loyalty, and love for their home. But she also knew that if they could survive the storm, they would emerge stronger than ever. In the dark corridors of the Aegis, young soldiers whispered prayers to the gods they had never truly believed in. Engineers tightened the last bolts on the human war machines, their hands shaking but their eyes shining with determination. Every person on the ship felt the same quiet truth: they were the last line of defense, the shield of humanity, and they would not break. As the Aegis jumped into hyperspace, leaving Earth behind but carrying the spirit of all humanity, Lyra looked back once more at the glowing blue planet. Somewhere deep within it, Gaia's heartbeat echoed, a reminder that humans were not alone. They had allies older than stars, stronger than machines, and more patient than any invader. Humanity's story was far from over, and the first sparks of a hidden fury were beginning to burn. The Zytrax had awakened something they could not control, and the galaxy would soon witness it. The stars stretched endlessly around the Aegis, silent and cold. Lyra Voss stood on the bridge, her eyes fixed on the displays of distant colonies. Smoke and fire still lingered in the images, reminders of what had been taken from humanity. Every red dot marked a life lost, and every life lost was a wound in her soul. Yet she refused to let despair take hold. Humanity had survived worse, and she knew deep inside that this was only the beginning of a fight that humans were destined to win. The human leaders gathered in the command room, their faces pale with fear, but their eyes glimmering with determination. The council debated strategies, plans, and resources, but Lyra noticed one thing: no plan could bring back the children, the families, the colonies. The sense of loss was heavy, almost unbearable. Yet in that darkness she found a spark, a seed of hope. Humans always found a way to fight back, no matter the cost. A young scientist, Dr. Elon Vera, stepped forward. His hands shook slightly as he activated a holographic map of Gaia Prime, their homeworld. "Commander," he said, voice tight but resolute, "something unusual is happening on Gaia. The planet, it's reacting. The forests, the rivers, even the minerals, they're alive in ways we've never seen before. It's like the planet knows the Zytrax are attacking us." Lyra leaned closer, studying the glowing lines of energy that pulsed beneath the planet's surface. "Are you saying the planet could fight with us?" Elon nodded slowly. "Not just fight. If we can connect with it, we can channel its power. But it's dangerous. Gaia is old. She is strong. If we fail, we could lose everything. Our ships, our soldiers, even ourselves." Lyra's eyes narrowed, determination replacing fear. She thought of the colonies burned to ash, the children who would never laugh again, the mothers and fathers whose dreams had been crushed. Humanity had always adapted, always endured. They had survived floods, plagues, wars, and starvation. Could they survive a war with an alien empire? They would have to, for there was no other choice. "Then we take the risk," Lyra said firmly, her voice carrying the weight of command and conviction. "We have lost much, but we have not lost our spirit. Humanity will not bow. Gaia will not bow. We fight." A quiet energy spread through the room. Humans had always feared that Earth was just a planet, lifeless and indifferent. But now they realized that their home had been silent, watching, waiting. Gaia had endured centuries of abuse, pollution, and destruction, and still she lived. Her strength was ancient, patient, and fierce. And now that strength could flow through humanity, amplifying their courage into something unstoppable. Outside the command room, the crew of the Aegis prepared for the journey to Gaia Prime. Engineers checked weapon systems, recalibrated shields, and adjusted engines for the treacherous descent into the planet's atmosphere. Soldiers tightened their armor, clenching weapons in hands that were steady despite fear. Every human on the ship felt it, a quiet whisper of power, a connection to their homeworld that was waiting to awaken. Lyra closed her eyes for a moment, imagining the forests, the rivers, the mountains of Gaia Prime. Somewhere in the dense jungles deep under the soil, Gaia stirred. Her energy pulsed like a heartbeat, slow at first, then growing faster, stronger, synchronized with the hearts of those who still believed in survival. Humanity was no longer alone. Gaia was with them, silent but powerful, a force older than stars themselves. As the Aegis jumped into the hyperspace lanes leading to Gaia Prime, Lyra felt a fire ignite inside her chest. It was anger, yes, but also hope. The Zytrax had taken much, but they had not taken humanity's spirit. The hidden fury of Gaia was rising, and with it humanity's chance to strike back. Lyra turned to her officers, her voice calm but commanding. "This is not just a battle for survival. This is a battle to remind the galaxy who we are. Humanity does not kneel. Humanity does not beg. Humanity fights, and we will make them remember." And somewhere deep within Gaia Prime, the forests whispered in approval, the rivers shimmered with energy, and the mountains trembled softly. The first spark of a power long hidden had begun to glow. Humanity's secret ally had awoken. The journey to Gaia Prime was tense. Every star outside the Aegis seemed colder, darker, as if the universe itself watched humanity's fragile fleet struggle against fate. Commander Lyra Voss paced the bridge, her boots echoing against the metal floor. She thought of the colonies that had burned, of lives erased in an instant, of children who would never laugh again. Every heartbeat reminded her that the Zytrax were relentless. Yet deep inside, another rhythm pulsed, a hidden promise from Gaia herself. When the fleet reached orbit, the planet sprawled beneath them like a living jewel. Forests glimmered with faint ethereal light. Rivers twisted with unnatural brilliance, and the mountains seemed to hum with energy. It was beautiful, yes, but also frightening. Humanity had lived on Gaia for centuries, yet they had never seen her like this. She was alive in ways they had only dreamed of, and she was waiting. Lyra led a small strike team down to the surface, cutting through layers of Zytrax patrols and sleek, silent ships. The forest below seemed to recognize them, branches bending slightly, rivers rippling with a strange awareness. Even the wind whispered secrets of old battles and lost civilizations. It was as if the planet itself guided them to the heart of her power. The Zytrax were not blind to human movements. They had landed troops and machines across Gaia Prime, establishing camps, weapons, and defenses. They laughed at human resistance, convinced that the few remaining soldiers were easy prey. They did not notice the subtle tremors in D. He ground. The strange flashes of energy in the forests or the strange synchronized movement of animals once thought extinct. Gaia had begun her response and humanity was part of it. Dr. Elin Vera turned to Lyra as they trekked through glowing groves. "Commander, the planet is reacting more strongly than I expected. Trees, plants, even the minerals in the soil. They're alive in a way that can influence the battlefield. If we coordinate, Gaia could destroy the Zytrax without a single human casualty." Lyra shook her head slightly. "I don't care if we lose a few soldiers. We've already lost too much. Gaia's fury is ours to channel, but we fight. Every human here fights, and the planet fights with us. They will regret ever touching one colony." Her voice was calm but burning with a fire that lit the hearts of those around her. As they approached one of the Zytrax camps, the ground trembled violently. Trees uprooted themselves, forming walls that blocked enemy vehicles. Rivers rose like living serpents, flooding enemy encampments and tearing apart machinery. Birds and animals, guided by Gaia's will, attacked Zytrax patrols with sharp precision. The humans moved in tandem with the planet, striking where chaos had already begun, making each attack devastating. Lyra's squad was in awe. This was no longer just war. It was a symphony of destruction, with Gaia as the conductor and humanity as her instruments. Every soldier felt it, an energy that filled their veins, a power that whispered courage, hope, and vengeance all at once. Humanity had always been resilient, but now they were unstoppable. The Zytrax tried to regroup, but Gaia's awakening made every maneuver uncertain. Explosions that should have destroyed human forces instead disabled Zytrax machines. Forests seemed to shift, closing off escape routes while lightning from strange, unnatural storms struck enemy vehicles. Gaia was alive and she was angry. Lyra paused on a ridge watching as a Zytrax squad tried to advance through a valley now alive with energy. "We are no longer prey," she said softly, almost to herself. "We are the storm. The fury of Gaia flows through us and they cannot stop it. Humanity will endure, and we will make them pay for every colony they burned, every child they killed." The human strike team pressed forward, moving through forests that pulsed with life, rivers that guided them and storms that shielded them. Every step was coordinated with Gaia herself. Humanity was no longer just fighting for survival. They were fighting as a force of nature, a living weapon. And the Zytrax had no idea what was coming. The first sparks of true resistance had ignited, and the galaxy was about to witness a fury it had never seen. Gaia had chosen her children, and they would not fail her. The Zytrax had underestimated humanity. They thought the few remaining human soldiers were weak, frightened, and easy to crush, but Gaia Prime was awake now, and every human on the surface felt it. The forests moved with a purpose. Rivers became weapons, and animals that had vanished from history returned in perfect coordination. Humanity was no longer fighting alone. They were the arms, the legs, the heartbeat of their planet itself. Lyra Voss stood at the forefront of a ridge, overlooking a valley where Zytrax troops advanced in their sleek black vehicles. The humans below her were tense but determined. Every soldier's eyes reflected the same thought. "We fight or we die, but we will make them pay." Then the planet responded. The ground trembled violently beneath the enemy's feet. Trees uprooted themselves and fell across Zytrax vehicles like giant hammers. Rivers swelled suddenly, sweeping troops into currents that tore them apart. Strange storms formed in the skies, bolts of pure energy striking with precision, destroying enemy war machines before they could fire a shot. The Zytrax had never faced anything like this. Their confidence turned to fear as they realized the humans were not alone, and the planet itself had joined the fight. Lyra shouted orders, her voice steady but fierce. "Push forward. Move with the forest. Strike where Gaia guides you." The humans obeyed, their movements flowing with the rhythms of the planet. Soldiers dodged debris using fallen trees for cover and fired upon the disoriented Zytrax. The alien troops tried to regroup, but every attack they launched was met with chaos. The ground splitting beneath them, rivers flooding their paths, lightning striking at impossible angles. The Zytrax technology, so advanced and precise, was powerless against the living fury of Gaia. Dr. Elin Vera ran beside Lyra, marveling at the scene. "Commander, it's incredible. She's reacting to human courage. Every act of bravery makes Gaia stronger. Every soldier's heart feeds her fury." Lyra nodded, gripping her weapon tightly. Then we fight with every ounce of courage we have. Every human here is a part of her now. Strike and she will strike with us. The battle raged through the valley. Zytrax soldiers fell to the ground, their weapons jammed or destroyed by trees and rivers that seemed alive. Entire vehicles were lifted and hurled by sudden tremors, smashing against others in explosions of fire and metal. The humans moved like dancers in a deadly ballet, coordinated not by technology but by instinct and the planet's guidance. Yet even as victory became possible, Lyra knew the war was far from over. The Zytrax would not retreat quietly. They would bring reinforcements, faster ships, more weapons. Humanity's survival depended on more than courage. It depended on their bond with Gaia and the awakening of the planet's hidden power. Lyra paused for a moment atop a hill, watching a Zytrax warship crash into a forest after being struck by lightning from an unnatural storm. Smoke rose like a column to the sky, and the humans cheered quietly under the shadow of the trees. This was not just revenge. This was reclamation. Humanity was taking back what was theirs. The humans advanced, and Gaia advanced with them. Every fallen soldier, every injured comrade, every scarred forest, the planet absorbed it all, transforming grief into power. The Zytrax could destroy cities, but they could not destroy the spirit of humanity, nor the force that lived beneath the soil. Lyra's heart raced, not with fear, but with fierce determination. "We are not prey," she whispered. "We are the storm. The fury of Gaia flows through us, and we will make them regret ever stepping foot on our worlds." As the sun set behind the glowing forests of Gaia Prime, lightning streaked across the sky, illuminating the battlefield in bursts of green and gold. Humanity was alive, defiant, and unstoppable. The Zytrax were learning a truth they had never understood. Humans did not fight alone. Their home fought with them, and together they were a force no empire could ever conquer. Deep beneath the forests of Gaia Prime, in caverns untouched by time, the strike team discovered something beyond imagination. A pulsing core of pure energy lay at the planet's heart, glowing with light that shifted in color and intensity. It was alive, not just with power, but with consciousness. This was Gaia herself, the hidden spirit of the planet, waiting for humanity to awaken her fury. Commander Lyra Voss stepped closer, feeling the energy resonate with her own heartbeat. It was strange, almost overwhelming. The cavern walls hummed, the air thick with warmth and life. Dr. Ilan Vera's voice broke the silence, trembling with awe. This is Gaia's consciousness. She's aware of us, of our courage, our pain, our anger. She has been waiting for the right moment, and now she responds. Lyra reached out instinctively. She did not touch the energy with her hands, but with her mind and heart. Thoughts of the colonies burned, of children taken too soon, of families ripped apart. She poured it all into the core. She added her own determination, the resilience that humanity carried in every cell, every breath. The core pulsed brighter, sending waves of energy that vibrated through the cavern and into the surface of Gaia. Ilan whispered, "Commander, she feels everything. She will strike where we cannot, but you must guide her. She is powerful, yes, but if we lose focus, if fear enters, she could destroy us too." Lyra clenched her teeth, her voice steady. "I am not afraid. We are not afraid. Humanity fights not just to survive, but to protect everything we love. Gaia's fury is justice. We will control it, and it will strike the Zytrax with everything they deserve." As they emerged from the cavern, the battlefield above had shifted. The Zytrax forces were regrouping, trying desperately to regain control of the forests and rivers. But Gaia's power had already begun to change the landscape. Trees moved to block enemy advances. Rivers surged forward, sweeping machinery away. Lightning struck with impossible precision, targeting enemy warships. Every step the humans took seemed synchronized with the planet's energy, and the Zytrax soldiers were helpless to understand it. Lyra and her strike team joined the front lines, guiding human units with Gaia's strength flowing through them. Soldiers no longer fought alone. They were conduits of the planet's power. Their courage amplified Gaia's fury, and Gaia's fury strengthened their courage. Each attack became more devastating, more precise, more unstoppable. Ilan shouted over the roar of battle, "Commander, look!" From the sky, a wave of energy radiated outward from the core of Gaia. Zytrax ships faltered in midair, weapons failing, engines stuttering. Entire battalions on the ground were trapped in fields of shifting energy, immobilized as the planet itself moved to crush them. Humanity's soldiers moved through the chaos like phantoms, striking where Gaia had already struck. Lyra felt the connection deepen. Every heartbeat, every step, every thought of survival, loss, and hope flowed between her and Gaia. The planet W. As no longer distant, no longer silent, it was alive in a way humanity had never imagined, and its power was a weapon of unimaginable fury. "Now we finish this," Lyra said, raising her weapon as a symbol, not for battle, but for the promise of vengeance. "For the colonies. For the children. For Gaia, strike!" And Gaia answered. The forests surged, rivers became torrents, and the skies ignited with energy. Zytrax machines melted, their weapons destroyed, and their soldiers scattered in terror. Humanity had become the visible arm of a living planet, and the Zytrax were powerless to resist. The hidden weapon of Gaia had awakened, and its fury was absolute. As the battle raged, Lyra looked at the human soldiers fighting beside her, their eyes wide with awe and determination. Humanity had survived worse than alien empires, worse than extinction itself. But now, united with Gaia, they had become something more, unstoppable, alive, and relentless. The Zytrax had no idea what had awakened, and soon, the galaxy would know the true meaning of human fury. The Zytrax forces scrambled in panic. Their sleek war machines, once symbols of unstoppable power, now crumpled under the relentless might of Gaia Prime. Trees rose like living walls, rivers swelled into rivers of destruction, and lightning struck with unnatural precision. Humanity moved through the chaos with purpose, each soldier guided not only by instinct but by the pulse of the planet itself. Every act of courage, every step forward fed Gaia's fury, making the humans stronger, sharper, unstoppable. Commander Lyra Voss led the charge, her heart pounding with a mixture of anger and hope. She had seen the colonies burned, heard the cries of children silenced by the Zytrax bombs, and felt the grief of a species nearly crushed. But now, standing amid forests that moved with intent, rivers that fought alongside them, and animals that struck with perfect precision, she understood something profound. Humanity was never truly alone. Gaia had awakened, and together they were a force beyond reckoning. Dr. Ilan Vera shouted over the roar of battle. "Commander!" The Zytrax are trying to retreat, but Gaia won't allow it. Their ships are grounded, their weapons disabled. Lyra's eyes burned. Good. Let them feel the cost of every colony they destroyed, every child they took, every life they thought they could erase. This ends now. The humans advanced, each step synchronized with Gaia's energy. Where the Zytrax tried to regroup, forests shifted to block them. Rivers surged forward, sweeping away vehicles and soldiers alike. The ground itself trembled, splitting under the enemy's feet. Even the air seemed alive, swirling with electric energy that disrupted Zytrax shields and instruments. Humanity was no longer just defending. They were the executioners of justice, guided by a living, vengeful planet. Lyra watched as a group of Zytrax soldiers tried to flee into a canyon, only to be trapped as trees uprooted themselves and formed impassable barriers. "No mercy," she whispered. "They had none for us." Soldiers cheered quietly under the glowing canopy of Gaia's energy, but there was no cruelty in their triumph, only righteous vengeance and relief. They fought for the children, for the colonies, for the families that would never return, and for the planet that had nurtured them for centuries. Each Zytrax machine destroyed, each soldier incapacitated, was a step toward reclaiming their home and their honor. Ilan pointed to the horizon, eyes wide. "Commander, look." Gaia's core, it's pulsing stronger than ever. "She's channeling all her energy into the battlefield." Lyra nodded, feeling the energy surge through her like fire in her veins. "Then we give them everything we've got. Humanity and Gaia together. Let them know what it means to strike at our home." The sky erupted in colors of green, gold, and violet as Gaia's energy spread across the battlefield. Zytrax ships faltered mid-air, engines failing, weapons sparking and shorting out. Ground forces were swept up in rivers that twisted and surged like serpents, forests that moved like giants, and winds charged with electric energy. Every attack the humans made was magnified by the planet itself, turning desperation into absolute power. Lyra raised her weapon, her voice rising above the roar of battle. "For the colonies. For the children. For Gaia, strike with me." And the humans did. Every soldier, every fighter, every survivor acted as one with Gaia, becoming a living force of vengeance. The Zytrax had never faced anything like this. a species united with their planet, wielding a power that no technology, no empire, no strategy could ever hope to overcome. As the last of the enemy ships fell, as the final squad surrendered or fled in terror, the battlefield grew quiet. Smoke rose from twisted wreckage, rivers flowed freely once more, and the forests of Gaia Prime stood taller and brighter than before. Humanity had survived, yes, but they had also triumphed. They had reclaimed their home, proven their strength, and unleashed a fury the galaxy would never forget. Lyra looked around at her exhausted soldiers, their faces streaked with dirt and sweat, but their eyes shining with awe and pride. "We did it," she whispered, voice trembling. "We survived. Gaia's fury, and it is ours, and no one will ever forget it." The battlefield was silent now. Smoke rose in thin spirals from the wreckage of Z-Track ships and broken machines. Rivers flowed calmly, forests stood taller than ever, and the mountains of Gaia Prime seemed to breathe with relief. Humanity had survived the storm of alien fury, and had emerged not just alive, but victorious. Commander Lyra Voss stood among her soldiers, her chest heaving, her eyes shining with awe and exhaustion. For centuries, humans had believed they were alone, small and fragile in a universe too vast and dangerous to conquer. Yet now they understood the truth. They were never alone. Gaia had been watching, waiting, nurturing a hidden strength within them. Together, humans and their planet had become a force of unstoppable power. They had taken the fury of the Zytrax and returned it tenfold, proving that no empire, no machine, no army could crush the spirit of humanity. Lyra walked through the forests, now glowing softly with the energy of Gaia's awakening. Trees swayed gently, their leaves shimmering with life. Rivers sparkled as if reflecting the stars themselves. And animals, once frightened or hunted, moved freely among the humans. The planet had healed, yet its energy remained vibrant, as though it had grown stronger from the battle. Every human present could feel it, the heartbeat of Gaia, steady, fierce, protective. Dr. Alan Vera approached, awe still evident in his eyes. "Commander, she's different now, stronger, connected to us in ways I never imagined. Humanity's courage, our will, it has awakened her fully." Lyra smiled faintly, tears glistening in her eyes. "We've always survived, Elan. Through fire, famine, war, we endure. But now Gaia has shown us something more. Strength isn't just in our weapons or ships. Strength is in our spirit, in our hearts, in our unity with the world that sustains us." Around them, the survivors of the Zytrax attacks slowly emerged from hiding. Children, once frightened and hopeless, ran through the fields, their laughter echoing through the forests like a song of rebirth. Families hugged each other tightly, tears streaming down their faces, grateful to be alive. They had seen destruction, but they had also witnessed something greater, a reminder that hope and courage could triumph even in the darkest hour. Lyra looked to the horizon, where the sun rose over mountains still glowing with energy from Gaia's fury. She felt a deep calm, a profound pride. Humanity had not only survived the Zytrax, they had grown stronger, wiser, and more united. They had learned that their planet was not just a home, but a guardian, a partner, and a weapon of justice. The Zytrax would never forget what had happened here. They had underestimated a species they thought weak, a planet they thought inert. Now the galaxy knew the truth. Humans, together with Gaia, were unstoppable. They were more than survivors. They were the children of a living world, a force that could rise from ashes and claim victory against impossible odds. Lyra raised her gaze to the stars, imagining the colonies that still remained scattered across the galaxy. Humanity would rebuild stronger than before. They would protect what was theirs, and they would teach the universe that no one could take their home without facing the full wrath of both human courage and Gaia's hidden power. She turned to her soldiers, her voice firm yet filled with warmth. "We have lost much, yes, but we have gained something far greater. We are the guardians of Gaia. We are the fury of a planet. We are humanity, and together, nothing can ever stop us." The humans cheered softly, not with reckless celebration, but with a deep emotional understanding of what they had achieved. They were no longer just inhabitants of Gaia. They were her children, her warriors, her allies. The planet had awakened, and with it, the true power of humanity had risen. As the stars glittered above and Gaia's energy pulsed through every tree, river, and heart, Commander Lyra Voss knew this was only the beginning. Humanity had faced destruction and emerged victorious, and the hidden fury of Gaia would never again be underestimated. The galaxy would remember. The end.